Hey guys, now that the new year has begun, all I can think of are the new movies that are coming out this year. And in this video, I want to talk about all the upcoming movies of 2025 that I am excited for. Kantara Chapter 1. Sanjay Leela Bhansali's Love and War, Lokesh Kanagaraj's Coolie, Kartik Subbaraj's Retro, Travis Knight's Wildwood, Luca Guadagnino's After the Hunt, Kogonada's A Big Bold Beautiful Journey, Ari Aster's Eddington, Alejandro Inarritu's Patience starring Tom Cruise, Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later, Yorgos Lanthimos' Begonia, Alex Garland's Warfare, Ryan Johnson's third installment of his Knives Out franchise, Wake Up Dead Man in Knives Out Mystery, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, Josh Safdie's Marty Supreme starring Timothy Chalamet, Benny Safdie's The Smashing Machine starring The Rock, the upcoming Paul Thomas Anderson movie starring Leo DiCaprio, Edgar Wright's The Running Man, Lynn Ramsey's Die My Love, Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice, Darren Aronofsky's Caught Stealing, Noah Baumbach's J. Kelly, Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme, Osgood Perkins' The Monkey, Chloe Zhao's Hamnet, the sequel to the classic Tare Zameen Par, Sitare Zameen Par. I am excited for this because it leaves the Ishana Vasti story alone and tackles another story that we are currently unaware of. It's a potential spiritual sequel, so I'm curious to see how that is tackled. Mani Ratnam's return to collaborating with Kamal Haasan with Thug Life. From the teaser, you can see the Kurosawa influences that Mani Ratnam proudly wears on his sleeve. I have no idea what these two are cooking, but given their track record, I'm sure that they will deliver a wonderful time at the movies. War 2. Given how big a fan I am of War 1 and consider it one of the best Hindi action films, I'm curious to see Junior NTR up against Hrithik Roshan. I am a little skeptical of Ayan Mukherjee being at the directing helm instead of Siddharth Anand because though I don't particularly love Ayan's films, but I am optimistically curious. The Fantastic Four, First Steps. Though there are other Marvel films coming out like Thunderbolts or the new Captain America movie, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most. Though the trailer has not come out yet, the stylistic retro posters and stellar cast have me intrigued enough. Plus, the fact that this apparently isn't part of the main MCU universe and does its own thing makes me confident about it being good. We will find out soon enough. F1. Though I am not a big fan of cars or racing, the fact that it's directed by Joseph Kosinski, the director of one of my favorite movies this decade, has me interested to see how the film pans out. Avatar Fire and Ash. Given how big a fan I am of James Cameron and the two Avatar films, I am more than excited for Fire and Ash. When Disney announced their lineup of films during Investors Day, this was the only film I was looking forward to out of all of them, because it really stands out as one of the few franchise blockbuster films that actually has an uncompromising vision behind it, helmed by one of the most daring filmmakers working today. Sinners. Ryan Coogler is one of the best and most interesting voices working today. His films like Fruitvale Station, Creed, and Black Panther have resonated with me like no other, and it's an obvious joy to see him work with his favorite Michael B. Jordan. But what intrigues me the most about Sinners is the genre that he's delving into, which is horror, a genre that I have never seen Coogler tackle before. First of all, the film looks absolutely gorgeous. The shadows and colors add to the filthy and gnarly nature of this horrific tale, which is perfect for the atmosphere that it's trying to capture. There are apparently two Michael B. Jordans, twins, I'm guessing. I have no idea about that. The narrative also has something to do with the devil himself. The trailer doesn't give much away about the film, and that is perfect. The film looks great, and it looks like Coogler is in complete control of his craft with his pure mastery of creating that unsettling and terrifying atmosphere. Plus, considering that a lot of the films from this list are sequels and franchise films, it's refreshing to see a talented filmmaker make something purely original. I really hope people support it in theaters when it releases. I trust in Ryan Coogler to give me a splendid time at the movies. Mickey 17. I have been waiting for years for this movie to come out, and I'm so happy that the release date is finally here. Bong Joon-ho cemented himself as one of the best directors working today after I watched Parasite, which blew my mind. After which, I watched some of his other films and became a huge fan of his. And his name alone, along with Robert Pattinson, was enough to get me excited for Mickey 17. I do not have much of an idea of the supposed plot of this movie All I get is that Rob's character can and gets resurrected multiple times. But it's interesting to see Bong return to science fiction after a while. If you watch the trailer, there is no way you can tell that this is the guy who made Parasite or Memories of Murder. That is because this, for me, is more reminiscent of his English works like Snowpiercer or Okja, where the world is wackier and the film isn't afraid to have slapstick humor in it. But I like that about it. It has an odd charm to it. To see something completely different from Parasite, it speaks of the range that Bong has as a filmmaker, and I'm pretty curious to see what Mickey 17 is all about. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Tom Cruise is one of the last movie stars in Hollywood, and of course, I am excited for his latest and potentially final venture of his most famous franchise. As a huge fan of this franchise, and after having loved the previous film Dead Reckoning Part 1, I am curious to see which directions Cruise and director Chris McQuarrie take the narrative and character. You see the deadly and life-threatening stunts performed for real by Cruise as is expected from every Mission Impossible movie, and I honestly can't wait to witness that on a large IMAX screen. The action and world-ending stakes are of course going to deliver, but what intrigues me is that this is potentially going to be the last movie of this franchise. That means it's going to have to go out on a high note, and I'm sure they will, because Cruise is the backbone of this franchise. Mission Impossible can't exist without Tom Cruise. And so, if this is the final film, you will have to handle the ending very carefully. But I am confident in McQuarrie and Cruise. They are a great storytelling pair that I know will deliver on not just an entertaining but a moving action epic. And now, Superman. Superman is one of my favorite superheroes, and James Gunn is one of my favorite filmmakers who has made some of my favorite superhero movies in that genre. So imagine my excitement when I learned that he's the head of DC Studios and he's spearheading every project coming out of that studio. But despite being the head of a major studio, I am so glad that Gunn has not stopped making movies. And I'm even more glad that he's directing the new Superman movie. And though I respect Snyder's take on the character, I am not particularly fond of that rendition of Superman. But after watching the much awaited trailer of James Gunn's Superman, I can finally say that this is my Superman. Apart from the new actor David Corenswet, Christopher Reeve was my quintessential Superman. I absolutely adore that first film, and I'm so happy that I'm probably going to fall in love with another live-action Superman movie. Judging from the trailer, I love everything about it. First of all, look at those colors, man. It's so nice to see a comic book movie with actual colors. To see a comic book movie that looks and feels like a comic book come to life. Visually, it's very reminiscent of the vibrance of The Suicide Squad, which makes sense considering the director and cinematographer of that film is the same as that of this Superman film. It feels like the classic and quintessential take on the character while also feeling modern. I have no idea about the plot or how many characters are going to be in this, but I believe in James Gunn. He has given me some of my favorite comic book movies, and the reason I love them so much is because they all have empathy for each and every character. Gunn finds the humanity underneath every character and makes us care for them, while also being unafraid to tap into the weird and wacky side of superhero comic books. His films are heartfelt and sincere, and that is precisely why he is the perfect director to tackle the Man of Steel. Superman feels like the beacon of hope he always was again. He feels like he embodies the best of mankind, like the emblem of hope and justice. I absolutely adore the moment where he saves the little girl, not just because of the cool slow motion and the brilliant shot composition, but because we see him save a life. And that's the thing. In superhero movies these days, rarely do we get to see the superheroes save the common folk. They keep getting grander in scale and vision, but never feel grounded enough or rooted enough in emotion. And it is so entirely refreshing to see the genre go almost back to basics in that sense. To see who these heroes are protecting. It's nice to see a superhero movie that's not worried about establishing a connected universe and stuffing itself with gratuitous cameos to make up for its creative bankruptcy. It's just nice to see a Superman film, and though it looks like it has heroes from the Justice Society, I know that Gunn isn't going to make this into an overcooked mess. He always manages to find the heart and core of the film and ensure that it is focused. And the reason I have faith not just in Superman, but for the entirety of DC Studios is because James Gunn is a man who cares. Cares about the source material, cares about those worlds, and especially about the characters. And given just how much of a comic book nerd he is, I am very confident that he is not just going to make a great film, but a great Superman movie. It's been so long since I've been excited for a comic book movie, and I truly cannot wait to see what's in store. So yeah, these aren't in any ranked order, but they are some of the 2025 films that I am excited for. Do chime in on the comments as to what is your own personal list. I wanted to kick off this year in excitement and celebration for what's to come. As I had stated in my similar video last year, but for 2024 movies, I regret not having enough indie films on the list, but that's also because I'm currently unaware of them and when they will release. What's mainly been announced or made public are the big franchise films, so that's all I have to hold on to at the moment. But I'm excited for all the surprises in store that are going to come out of nowhere and blow me away. I always love it when films do that. Hopefully, Celine Song's new movie, The Materialists, also comes out this year. But as of now, these are the upcoming films that I am publicly aware of, and honestly, I can't wait to watch all of them in theaters. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. And until next time, I will see you later. Bye bye.